I'd like to call to order the special City Council meeting of January 23rd. Would you please call the roll?
Zingy.
Here.
Flora.
Here.
Kiefer.
Here.
Bergeron.
Here.
Gage.
Here.
Coos.
Here. Thank you very much. Would you please rise for the pledge of allegiance? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. We'll save the communications that I have, I think, for the regular meeting. Is there anybody at this meeting that would like to speak under person to be heard? The sign-up sheet that's out there, we had some confusion about whether it was for this or the next meeting. So, is there? Thank you. Is there anybody that wishes to speak at this meeting that has signed up for that? If not, we will take those in the regular meeting. Would you like to speak?
Okay, good evening, Mr. Mayor and fellow City Council members. First, I want to offer my condolences for the passing of our former City Mayor and Council member, Lou Williams. Mr. Williams was an affluential figure in our community and should be eternally cherished as such. However, moving forward with this evening's agenda and why we're all here tonight, I'm here to speak in strong favor of Spencer Strasburg's application for a seat on the council. I've seen a lot of good names on the list tonight for the applicants, so I don't mean to disparage those. I just want to support Spencer. Mr. Strasburg has been a strong, solid, successful businessman in our community for more than a decade. He has proven his dedication and passion for our city and this council for several years now, running for a seat. He has publicly expressed his ideas and views for our community that clearly align with the vision that I believe represents the majority of the Ketchikan community. He has spoken for years that Ketchikan is worth far beyond what we're compensated for. He has made and proved the argument that we need to be imposing much higher docking fees and whatever user fee we can on these ships so that this overtaking industry can, at the very least, sustain itself. Yet somehow, council members and voters have allowed him and his stances to slip through the cracks so that we can sit comfortably knowing that that same tired mindset continues to circulate our space of leadership, all while we complain that nothing seems to change. So as the cliched but fitting Einstein saying goes, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So why are we doing this to ourselves? I encourage you, council members, to stop this pattern. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable because nothing sublime ever comes from comfort zones. Perhaps the idea of Mr. Strasburg sitting alongside you on the council is intimidating because head nodding and moving forward with an agenda is far less disruptive. But we all know that those less disruptive actions can prove dangerous. You need to allow for conversation with waves, allow for healthy debate, allow for the word no from time to time so pros and cons can be more thoroughly weighed and ideas can be born. Allow for the ambitious and charismatic change that is Spencer Strasburg. This council needs exactly that, and we know without a single doubt that Mr. Strasburg can deliver the energy that breathes life into our community. Thank you. Ganesh Chish.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you. That is important.
Anybody else? Hearing none, we'll move into the new business. Is the selection of the candidate to fill the vacancy, make a council seat. I think our plan is to give each candidate 5 minutes to express and let us know who they are and what their platform may be and what they, I think, are looking to get done. So I'll take it in order of what's on the list here. Does anybody have a timer that they can work with? We'll give you the high sign at 4 minutes so that you can wrap up. to be the timekeeper? Okay, we got a timekeeper over. Michelle, you're up first.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. I really have no agenda in applying for this position other than continuing to serve our community in the various capacities that I've done over the last 10 and a half years in living here. I originally wanted to apply in May for the vacancy that was available previously, but after talking with Lou Williams, he indicated that he would like to serve again, and I deferred to him because he certainly has a huge history in our town. He encouraged me to run in the fall for City Council because I'm very passionate and have been for many, many years about our city. When he decided to run, I decided to run for Borough Mayor. I've been heavily involved in our city, obviously, as you well know, having been employed by KPU in the city of Ketchikan for 7 years, as well as serving on our school board, to which I was elected as a write-in candidate only 6 months after arriving in Ketchikan, with a different last name, I might add, which was infinitely harder to spell. It was a great experience serving our community. I've served on no less than 7 local nonprofit boards, and I've lost count of how many other things that I have added to our community, but it brings me joy. And in raising our 2 daughters here, we've realized that this is home. This is the longest place that we've ever lived, ever, having been a military family. And both of my daughters have been afforded experiences and opportunities that we would never have anywhere else. I believe that Ketchikan has a very bright future. But we also have some challenges and some very hard decisions to make along the way. And I'm not quite sure all of those will be very popular. I'm not quite sure we're going to make everyone happy. But they're very, very important. We've got the ports to deal with. We've got tourism development to deal with. We've got a future of a hospital, which is both bright and a source of angst in our community. And we've got economic development to deal with, as well as an aging infrastructure. I've got the experience, both corporate and through working on the school board, to deal with multi-million-dollar budgets. And in addition, I would like to offer that I enjoy a collaborative nature on the board. A person sitting on a board, whether it be a nonprofit or a council or a borough assembly, once the decision is made as a group, that's the decision. You can't go off of the decision. And I believe that using our teamwork and listening to our citizens and our community input will do well for our future in Ketchikan. Thanks.
Thank you, Michelle. How does the council want to work follow-up questions? Do you want to ask that after they all, or do you want to do it during the individual council member speaking?
At the end.
At the end?
Let's
Okay.
listen to everybody.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Michelle. George Tipton.
No agenda, pretty simple. I've been involved for a lot of years. A number of you have sat with me on the assembly in the past. You know my work ethic, what I'm capable of doing, how I get involved, and to study things out. I respect anybody that comes to this podium. For a lot of people, it's not easy. But they have valuable information that you can blend with experts that you have on staff that do a very good job, consultants that you bring in. You have the big gorilla on the regular meeting tonight called the doc. That's what that's all about. You have a group that's former elected officials, prominent business people that have brought forward good ideas to blend in with what the consultants in and what the RFPs ultimately propose. That's the big question that you're looking for of somebody to help in that short term, because to me it's very simple. You're looking at short-term needs that blend into long-term goals. That's what the community is all about. You don't have to do major changes and stuff. Sometimes you just tweak them for what the current dynamics are to make sure it goes along smoothly down the road. Overall, that's been done on a lot of things by both bodies, and they've worked well together to make that happen. That's where the economic development engine comes in, and that's very important. Budgets, I'm very, very used to those, obviously, from all the years I've sat on the assembly. The number of committees I've sat on is endless. Name one, I've been on it and understand those. It doesn't mean that I'm the best suited, but you just heard one speaker say, each person has an avenue of knowledge, and that's valuable to what we want. And that's as simple as it is for me. I'd be honored to be picked. If I'm not, I'm still going to be involved in different ways. Any questions, I'll be glad to answer. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Michael, are you online?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, Michael, your turn. You're up. Go right ahead.
All right, so my name is Michael Briggs, and I've been a resident of Ketchikan for just under 10 years now. In fact, the anniversary of my moving to Ketchikan is in about 4 weeks from now. So in my time there, I've been afforded some wonderful opportunities, working with great people in town, participating in different, events and organizations to help move Ketchikan forward, I would hope, and I'm looking forward to an opportunity to do that with the City Council as well. Some of you may know that I want to apologize for not being there in person tonight, but some of you may know that I'm actually on the road doing some promotion in Ketchikan in Puyallup, Washington today, and got a couple more spots on that before the off-season ends and we get back into, into our normal summer season there. But I think some of my biggest qualifications are my ability to work well with others and work collaboratively to move an organization's agenda forward, as well as communicate effectively with people from a lot of different backgrounds. And so I hope you'll take that into consideration, and I look forward to being a part of the Ketchikan City Council.
Thank you, Michael. We're going to ask some questions probably at the end. So if you
Sure.
stay online, that'd be great.
You got it.
Thank you. Next, Riley Getz.
Good evening. My name's Riley Gass. Thank you for doing this. I have to say I was a little confused, so I didn't prepare a speech. I thought it was more of a questionnaire, so I'll kind of shoot from the hip. But to start off, just a little about myself. Born and raised in Ketchikan. My family goes back a couple generations, at least on either side. Never lived anywhere else. Plan to live here, and I'm very concerned about some of the things that are in our future with obviously the big one is the docks and the cruise ships and quality of life for folks who plan to live here for years to come. Very involved in the community, various things, basketball and whatnot, and own a couple of properties. So obviously the big thing for me is worrying about cost of living, also property taxes. I'm all for common sense governing. To me, I think this council or any government body should operate their budget the same way I operate mine in my personal life, or any of us would. If we don't have the money from the revenues we're getting, we need to either get more revenues or limit the spending. I'm more in favor of limiting spending opposed to increasing taxes whenever that would be possible. That's kind of my take on that. The hot button issues with the dock and the RFP and all this, I look at it from a little bit of a different angle. Rather than kind of getting all panicked and saying we got to spend $150 million right now on these ports, I think there's a few more questions that could be asked. I know we can hold at least one mega ship, so rather than spending all this money so we can accommodate 4 mega ships at a time pronto, why not save up our money now that we finally adjusted for that cruise ship moorage fee? We're going to be collecting a lot more money over the next few years, so why not maybe keep it local, go one section at a time, and say, okay, over the 3 years we're going to have this much money so we can accommodate one of our berths, and so that we can get up to 2 mega ships, and then see what the industry does. Because I understand the industry's going to the mega ships, but it's not going to happen right now. So, I mean, I think that would be maybe a little bit better way to go. Maybe I'm saying too much on that, but that's the big issue that's on everybody's mind. Yeah, I'm all for common sense governing. I mean, I think we should govern how we would in our own way, and or in our own homes, I should say. And yeah, I look forward to the opportunity if I could get it. And also, it would be a mega honor to step in for Lou Williams. I had the pleasure of living across the street from him the last few years, and so much respect for him, even though maybe I wasn't always wasn't always easy. He was always willing to talk to me, even if I didn't necessarily agree with him. So he was just a very honorable man. So anyways, that's my spiel. Thank you.
Thanks, Riley.
Good job, Ryan.
Spencer.
I apologize for not speaking off the top of my head. I put all my thoughts down on this paper, so I'll make the timeline, but it's probably not quite as colorful. Good evening, Council. Here we are at another appointment. This is one of my favorite events of the political process. I like to look at it as an opportunity to focus the spotlight on leadership qualities. Nobody said politics was fair, but I'd like to think that the local voter population of Ketchikan strives to establish a higher code of conduct than we currently see in national politics. I'm the natural and fair choice for this seat, as I have literally put in hundreds of hours of work and have received thousands of votes over the past 5 years. I have spent this time educating the local voter on my perspectives and my qualities as a leader for this council. I have showed dedication by attending every forum or event that I have been invited to without fail. I am the definition of transparency. Everyone knows it. Some are afraid of it. I display courage by addressing very difficult topics and saying the hard things that need to be said and standing behind my decision. As a current voter and coincidentally my biggest supporter, I would like to ask the council to conduct business a little differently with this appointment and show our voters the transparency they deserve. I would like the council to discuss and vote openly for this seat, rather than your usual pass the school note swamp games. That would allow the common voter like myself the opportunity to understand what our city leaders' perspectives and thought processes behind this decision are. I don't even know who has voted for me. 2 members voted for me last appointment, and it would be prudent for me to know who has extended me their support. It's not like we will be blowing any big bid out of the water tonight or divulging any salaries or sensitive issues or anything of the sort. I can assure you, you're not going to hurt my feelings. Frankly, I could use the feedback on my personal journey and growth. It will give the public the opportunity to hear the reasoning behind your decision tonight. It will give the voter an opportunity to see what level of fairness their leaders would like to express. Also, which leaders are looking to increase diversity and which would prefer someone they like. The thing I am most interested in seeing in my current leaders is to display humility. Humility is my favorite leadership quality. It is necessary to make the difficult decisions. It's necessary to make the difficult decisions. Needed to put your own aside for the better of the group. Humility is particularly necessary if you're going to be able to vote in the loudmouth on the corner, even if you don't like him, because it's the right thing to do. I appreciate the humility of our leaders on the school board for demonstrating this at the last couple of appointments they've had. The board has chosen to be fair and pick candidates who have put themselves in front of the voter. They have chosen to be fair, and that is very rare in politics. The choice seems simple in my mind tonight. There's only one candidate who has earned this appointment. The rest are hoping for the anybody but Spencer appointment. We are all here to prove something to the voter tonight. I will continue to put myself up here knowing it proves dedication and hard work. Every time leadership ignores the voter and employs down south swamp politics to stay secure with like-minded candidates, it removes diversity from our board and narrows the view until the board believes the voter got it wrong. It's time to see if we have political leaders or fair leaders.
Thank you, Spence. Emily.
My name is Emily Chappell. I live at 314 Austin Street. I am a smart and determined self-starter with a wealth of compassion for my community members. I am here primarily because I want to see people under the age of 40 run for and obtain seats in public office and leadership positions across the board, whether that's business, service, etc. I want to give a shout out to Riley, Sid and Austin, I see you guys, and I'm proud of you. It takes a lot of bravery to come up here before a group of people who have had many more years to lengthen their resumes and add to their list of qualifications. I also want to see more representation of people who are actively raising families in Ketchikan, people who are raising children here. I think that is a voice that we are missing currently. I think that all of you bring a wealth of knowledge and information, and many of you have raised children and families here. But these are different times than they were even 10 years ago. Things are changing very rapidly. And there's a saying that goes, don't talk about us without us. Don't make decisions about future generations and generations that are going to be impacted after you're gone without giving them a say in the process. I also want to say that another one of my objectives is to give back to Ketchikan. I can attribute a lot of my own success to the success of this community. I have received an immense amount of support, numerous opportunities. People have seen the potential in me and have given me opportunities to grow, and I'm asking for that opportunity again. I was told to start thinking about priorities, and one of the things that I thought about is this is a short-term position, and I think it would be foolish of me to set goals that would have timelines well beyond when I would still be in a position of office. So my priorities would be to make sure that the current projects are done well, that after this filtration system is installed, that we have the cleanest water in the world. I want to also, this has been mentioned earlier, begin exploring ways to reduce cost of living. We not only have an aging infrastructure, we have an aging population. And if we want people to be able to buy homes here and stay here and raise families here, we've got to be able to make it affordable to them to be able to do that. I'm also interested in beginning discussions about how climate change will affect our community. In Florida, they have maps that show people how far the sea levels are going to rise. We're a coastal community. Half of our town is built upon docks. Whether you agree how climate change is happening, I think it's a discussion that we need to start having. We're a coastal community. I also want to say that you can't always cut your way to prosperity. We have budgets that are hard to balance. Sometimes we have conflicting agendas or things, conflicting needs in the community. And I hear all the time, we need to cut the budget, and I just can't think, we can't cut our way to prosperity, but we can save our way to prosperity. We can find ways to be more economical. We can find ways to save money. So then that way, we can balance the budget, but in a way that isn't causing harm or forcing us to prioritize other things above equally important things. I do have some ideas on that, but I'm not going to share those here now. We'll just save that for another time. I thank you for this opportunity. As people have said before, we may be filling the seat, but we are certainly not filling the shoes. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. Well, that's the end of the presentation by the candidates. Are there any questions from the council? And if we asked one of the candidates, unless it's a clarification of something that they brought forward, if you have a question, we would prefer to ask it to all the candidates, to be fair. So, anybody got a question? No? Nothing? So there was a suggestion from one of the candidates about open balloting rather than paper balloting, and so what is the, I guess, wish of the council? Is there anybody that, in the past we've always used paper ballots. As everybody should know, it takes 4 ballots to elect a council member, and it usually takes a few rounds for us to get there. So, paper ballot?
I'm for paper ballots, Your Honor.
Okay.
Since it's going to be a couple rounds. Confusing.
So, does everybody have ballots in front of them at this point in time? So, at this point, we can go ahead and take that ballot. We do have an executive session in case you come to an impasse and you want to discuss something in private, something that you don't want to mar the reputation or say something that would be taken out of context. But so at this time, we ballot, and then we'll pass them over to the clerk. What's that?
In case there's a tie or something.
Yes.
If there was a tie, the mayor.
Oh, yes.
Shuffle them up.
Okay.
Check marks.
All right, go ahead. You can open them up. Let me know.
Okay, we have George Tipton. George Tipton.
Two of them?
No,
just one.
Emily Chappell. I didn't know if they heard that.
Okay.
Emily Chappell. Michael Briggs. Spencer Strasburg. And Michelle O'Brien.
Well, that went well.
One down, 7 hours ago.
So, of course, the only one that received two was Emily. Not all the others, but the Spencer, Michelle, Michael, and George all received one, and Riley didn't receive any. So, at this point, we would like to thank Riley for your how the council sees it. So, if you want to vote again, if there's any questions that you want to ask, we can do that.
I don't think we have enough of these.
It's going to be like some of those old presidential conventions, on the 148th ballot.
We got 10 chances.
Just got 10 chances.
And I plan to use alternates.
There might be 11.
White or black smoke?
I like that. White smoke.
All right, shuffle them up and we'll go again. This is ballot number 2.
Pioneers of the last year's black bulb machine.
Okay, we have Emily Chappell. George Tipton. Emily Chappell. Michael Briggs. Michelle O'Brien. And Emily Chappell. So she has 3 this time. We're good.
And we had,
Is that 6?
yeah, we had 3,
For Emily.
1 for Michael,
1
for George, and we had 1 for Michael, right? So that would eliminate Spencer. Spencer, thank you for your time.
Yeah, you bet. Anytime.
Next time.
About 5 more years.
So that brings us now that we have down to 4 candidates. We will do another round of balloting.
Scribble out the ones that aren't.
This is number 3. Need 2 of those.
Okay. We have Emily Chappell. Emily Chappell. Emily Chappell. Michelle O'Brien. George Tipton. And Emily Chappell.
That does it. We'll make this control vote. Yep, you have that one. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I will swear her in.
So Emily, if you would come up, we're going to swear you in tonight. You're going to go to work. Come right over here.
Over here, we're going to do an oath of office, and then when we start meeting at 7, you'll take the seat, and then you'll see me tomorrow, and we'll do a little training, and get your iPad and all your stuff. Okay. And I'll get you a real one of these, because I didn't know. So I, Emily Chappell, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
Yes, I was gonna
of
say.
America, the Constitution and the laws of the state of Alaska, and the charter and ordinances of the city of Ketchikan, that I will perform the duties of the council member of the City of Ketchikan, Alaska, upon which I am about to enter, honestly, faithfully, impartially, and will do even and exact justice to all persons to the best of my ability.
I do solemnly swear.
Okay.
Thank you for this opportunity.
So I would like to thank everybody that put their name forward. Come on up. Come on up. I'd like to thank everybody that put their name in, came here tonight with their anticipation, and I'd like to welcome you, of course, to the council. And so it brings us down to mayor and council comments. Dick.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Be prepared to go to work.
I'm ready.
Okay. Henley.
Yeah, welcome, and get ready to read War and Peace.
Every week.
Every week.
Oh, I have seen the binders.
Samuel.
I'd like to thank everybody that applied for the council. This was really a difficult decision. I mean, I was really impressed with the folks that stepped forward, and, stepping out there is really hard to do. It takes a lot of courage to do what you all did, and I really appreciate the effort and getting and stepping out there, and thank you for your time and your service. Thank you.
I'm going to come back to you and give you a chance.
Welcome aboard, and thanks to everyone who applied.
David.
Yes, welcome aboard. And the election's coming up in 8 months?
Yeah.
7 months? I want to see you all on the ballot.
Mark.
Welcome aboard.
Again, I think I'll echo the other council members saying that public service isn't always the easiest thing, and then again, when you put yourself out there in this position, that again opens you up for, I guess, putting you in a position where people will judge you based on who you are, and that does take, I think, some courage to do that, and I think every one of you has courage. So, Emily?
Again, thank you to all the other candidates who ran. I am honored to be in this position. I will work hard for the entirety of these 8 months that I'm in this role. Thank you for this opportunity. And I want to say that you guys not only chose me, but I chose all of you. So thank you for being my mentors through this process. And thank you to the community.
We have had the close of public comments, but was there something that you wanted to bring up, Norman?
With all due respect, Mayor, I know you said you guys have new mics, but some of you are still hard to hear.
Thank you for that.
So,
Okay, we'll turn
that
them
mic
on.
more closer toward your mouth would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Norman. So,
Okay, we could all do a test.
Yeah.
Seems like it's like
so that brings us to the last.
Move to adjourn.
we're back.
Stand adjourn until 7 o'clock for the regular.